Okay, today we're going to learn about simplifying sums and differences of polynomial products. When we expand and simplify, if you look at this question, and we're going to be doing A today. So if you look at this question, you can kind of pick out some of the things that was taught earlier to you in the year when we were dealing with polys. You can see that we're dealing with FOIL in the first part. So you can take 2c minus 3 and c plus 5 and be able to throw FOIL at it. Or you can go ahead and put it in a 2 by 2 and be able to solve through that also. If you look at the second part here, you can kind of approach it in two different ways here. You could go ahead and do FOIL with the two binomials, which is c minus 3 and minus 3c plus 1, and go and do FOIL through that, or get into a 2 by 2. Or you can go ahead and multiply your monomial times your binomial and solve that first, and then go back to FOIL and be able to complete that through FOIL or the 2 by 2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with 2c minus 3 and c plus 5. So what I'll do is I'll set up a 2 by 2. Okay. And with that 2 by 2, you can put the 2c minus 3 up here, and then the c plus 5 down here, and go ahead and multiply on your squares and be able to solve. So 2c plus c is a 2c squared. You have your minus 3 and a c is a minus 3c. You have your 5 times a 2c is a 10c. And you have your 5 times a negative 3, which is a negative 15. Okay. Once you have that, you can go ahead and solve. So in this case here, you would have your 2c squared and your minus 3c and 10c. You can collect like terms. So I'll rewrite that. 2c squared minus 3c and a 10c is going to give you a positive 7c. And then your minus 15, which is going to go in there. Okay, so then you have your trinomial set up. So that's done. So you can kind of get that out of there right away so that you know that you don't have to come back to that. And then we'll send over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually multiply. I'm going to show you with arrows, distributive property. Go ahead and multiply the 3c minus 3, which is going to give you, and we'll set up the box again over here one more time. Okay, so that'll give you a 3c, and that will give you a minus 9. And then down here, we'll set it up a minus 3c and a plus 1. So again, go ahead and multiply a minus 3 plus 3c. A minus 3c plus a 3c is going to give you a minus 9c squared. A minus 9 and a minus 3c is a positive 27c. And then a 3c and a 1 is going to give you a 3c. And then a minus 9 and a plus 1 will give you that minus 9. So again, collecting like terms, make sure you look and see what your like terms are. In this case, when you're dealing with two binomials, you're always going to see that the middle numbers, which is the c's, are going to be your like terms for the most part. So we'll collect like terms. We're going to write this, or we'll keep it in the same color. So minus a 9c squared and a 27 and a 3c is going to give you a 30c. And then what you're left over is with the minus 9, which should be your constant. Okay, I'm just going to stop there for a minute. I'm going to move it up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to collect like terms. As you can see, when we solved here, we have our c squareds, we have our c's, and we have our constants, which are two numbers of minus 15 and minus 9. So in this case here, I'm just going to use, as I've started with polys, I always like to use a different color, so I'm going to circle the c squareds and be able to go ahead and add those together. So we got a minus 9 c squared, and 2c is going to give us 7c squared. Okay. And then I'm going to use a different color, put my minus in there. And then I'm going to use a green color here for the c's. So I'm going to have and I'm going to square those in so that I can see where they're at. So I got a 30C and a positive 7C, which is going to give me a positive 37C. Okay. And then the last one here, we're going to get into looking at a minus 15. So I'm going to triangle that in and triangle that in. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add those two together so that we can go ahead and get a minus 24. And again, I can put that in red, sorry. Okay. Now, if you take a look at it, is there any other like terms that you have? No, there's not. So at this time, you have now completed and you have solved right to the end to get your final answer.